All right, Mycala, I am so excited to meet you. This is the first time I'm meeting you. So, welcome.
Yes. Thanks.
Yeah, awesome. So, today we're going to do a coaching call with your podcast, and I'm going to give you some actionable steps, any of those type things that I see. And I did get a preview of your podcast. I'm very excited about it, by the way. Very excited. This is the
Cool.
first time I've had a serial podcast on. So, could
Okay.
you could you tell me your name and tell me the name of your podcast and a little bit about your podcast so everybody can hear.
Okay. Well, I go by MK. My real name is Mycala, and my podcast is Traversing Tuesdays, which began a year ago when I got laid off unexpectedly. And I just started processing the layoff and it began with me talking about being a spoonie and processing my feelings about being laid off. And this character showed up and he was just a talking water glass. And I was like, okay, I'll play with that. And then I would go on these walks in the neighborhood and see this smushy faced dog. And so I had a squirrel news anchor and he would always talk about the dog. And next thing you know, the characters are taking over. And after a couple of months, the characters just started their own show. And then I had this world. And then just 2 weeks ago, I started the nocturnal programming for the raccoons and the skunks at Sparky's Tavern in the Westwoods. So it just kind of took on a life of its own. The characters just started talking, and there we are.
So tell me, do you do all the voices yourself too? Because I've listened to your podcast. So do you do the voices?
I don't. I wish I could, and I will be honest that I do use AI voices. I would prefer not to, but I couldn't do it otherwise. So.
Yeah. 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 I love that. So little known fact, I actually started listening to podcasts years ago by listening to Wooden Overcoats. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And the other one was Welcome to Hellmart. And I think it was Welcome to Hellmart Shoppers or something like that. So basically, both of those were what I view your podcast as, which is what we would call a serial podcast. And this has nothing to do with the cereal you eat. It is actually more to do with it's a story that you are telling, and every week you're putting out a new segment of that story, and that story is unfolding as it goes along. And this is such a unique and underutilized podcast type. So I love this. I absolutely love it. And I think that what you're doing is amazing. And we need this to grow, right? That's part of what you had asked about. So you're hosted on Buzzsprout and you are releasing weekly?
Right now, it's twice a month. So
Okay.
the daily programming is the first Tuesday, and the night show is the third Tuesday. And
Okay.
then on Patreon, I have bonus episodes.
Ooh,
So
I love that. I love that. And can I ask, how many patrons do you have currently?
they currently have 2 patrons, which,
Perfect. Okay, that's good. No, you got to start somewhere. So I love that. No, there's two people. Is two people. We're gonna get you more. How's that? So we're gonna work on that.
fantastic.
Yeah. Do you write out all the storyline yourself? Like, do you have all the characters fleshed out? Yeah.
Well, I have some of them fleshed out. Like when I first started, I just had these ideas. Well, what if the news anchor was a squirrel? And now they're coming at me with full backstories. Like Trina, the dumpster diving raccoon, she came with a full backstory and she took over immediately.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how much I love this because I just really find that this is an underutilized area of podcasting and such a fun area of podcasting. So let me ask you a couple of other things. Because this is a serial podcast, do you have, other than your patron, which is fine too, if that's all it is, do you have any other way to get people into your world? Do you have a newsletter that you can send them to? Do you have a website that you sell anything like that you can make money off of other than Patreon?
Working on the artwork for merch, so t-shirts, tote bags, etc., stickers. I am also working on comic books I'm working slowly and I'm a perfectionist and that's part of the problem. But, I'm trying to figure out where do I put my focus? Because, like, number one, obviously, it goes to the story. And then where does the extra time go? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's also mention that even though you're working on your merch, I don't think you need to work on all that merch at once, like one thing at a time, maybe just some stickers to begin with, because people love stickers. You've seen the back of my laptop or the front of my laptop, actually, except for where the keyboard is. It's completely stickerfied. So we all love stickers. So if you start there, at least then you can maybe like give something to your patrons and stuff like that. And I imagine you're using like Printify or something like that to get those up and into the world.
I'm using Fourth Wall. So,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Redbubble, I think, is another one. There's a bunch of other ones out there. So, okay.
yeah.
So now you did tell me that you have under 100 downloads per episode after the 30-day mark. Would you say, okay, let me actually ask you first. How many episodes have you put out altogether?
I think I'm at 24 now. Like, a lot of the early episodes are now under the paywall for Patreon because it took a different direction. So I sort of took the at the spot where the characters took over and they're doing the whole show. All the back episodes are now on Patreon. So I think I might have 7 or 8 on the Buzzsprout at this point.
Nice. Okay. Now, on Buzzsprout, are you using the dynamic ads and telling people that you have the previous ones on Patreon? If they wanted to be a patron, they could hear the previous ones.
Okay, no, I don't. And
Okay.
I've been looking at the dynamic ads because I have these local bands in the world. And so I'm thinking of using those dynamic ads to say what band is playing in the next Sparky's Tavern episode. But that would be cool too. So I could just put them together.
Yeah, and you don't have to do one. Well, actually, in Buzzsprout, you do have to do one or the other. But what you can do is you can do 3 weeks of maybe the bands or something, and then 1 week of the patron, or vice versa. Something like that. You can have multiple ads in Buzzsprout, but you can only use one ad for all the episodes as of right now, unless they changed it. Captivate allows you to put as many ads in as many different episodes as you want. Libsyn is totally different. So there's different rules for each hosting platform, but Buzzsprout, I do know, because I have a lot of clients on Buzzsprout as well, that you can have multiple ads, but only one ad at a time placed inside of the episodes. So just but you can do, yeah, and you can do a mid-roll ad, which is what I suggest doing. When you do an ad, I always suggest, first of all, it shouldn't be in the middle of a sentence if you can make it that way. But if you do have an ad, I would do it if your episode is, I think I looked, it's like 33-ish minutes long, about a half an hour long on average, I think is what I looked at. So I would have your ad in between the 10 and 15 minute mark. So like 12 minutes is like your sweet spot there. Okay. But again, don't put it in the middle of a sentence. So if it has to be 9 minutes, that's fine. If it has to be 16 minutes, that's fine. You know what I mean? There's just an average there of what you should do. And I would start that right away. That's an easy add in right now. Now, I also want to kind of go over the name of your podcast. I do love how you've named it Traversing Tuesdays. But if we take a large step backwards here and you look at that, does that Traversing Tuesday actually, would anybody be searching for Traversing Tuesday to get the stories that you're talking about?
Famous.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just go with the fact that we need to add a title extension to that. Okay. So that means you can leave Traversing Tuesday just where it is, right? Ultimately, I would love to start with a keyword first, but if you are not open to changing the name or you don't want to do it just yet, that's fine. Let's add title extension. So if your ideal person, your ideal listener was to be looking for your show, what would they be Googling? What would they be searching for?
I have thought about this honestly, I don't know how to define it. It's just fun and whimsical and humorous, and it's the kind of thing you could just have on while you're driving back and forth to work or whatever. It's just, I don't really know how to, it's like now everybody knows who Garfield is. Nobody would have known that in the past, but it's like, okay, you think of Garfield, talking cat. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, so you've already said a couple, so it's definitely fun and witty and humorous, right? And I would also put in there somewhere in that, I would say it is a some type of a serial because people are looking for those. People are looking for podcasts that are serial podcasts that are continue on. They want a story every week. They want that story to continue every week. Why do you think true crime is so popular, right? It's because every week they're giving you a different story. I mean, it's not a great story. Well, I mean, it depends on who you are, you know, but
Yes.
you are doing the epitome of like the old fashioned. I don't know if you remember when Stephen King came out with The Green Mile, and every month you'd get a new chapter of The Green Mile. I think that was The Green Mile. And so you'd have to go to the store and you'd have to buy that book. And so you'd devour it. It was a tiny little sliver of a book. And he actually did this because this was popular way back in like I want to say the 20s, the 1920s. So this is still popular today. People love the cliffhangers. People love the waiting for the next thing. So definitely, I think in that title extension, we need to add the word serial somewhere. And that's SERIAL. Okay. And
Yes.
then and then I would also mention that I think you could use like fun words like maybe like hijinks or something kind of witty and fun to talk about the characters. So think about a character that you have. Who tell me about the main character actually. Let's go with that.
We'll start out with Rupert. Rupert the squirrel is the lead anchor of Tuesday News Network, and he is the one who does the smushy faced dog stories. And we had the underground correspondent is a snail, and he came 3 weeks late because he's a snail. He was trying to get here. He didn't get here on time. Rupert is a stickler for order, and he was very upset that Fenwick arrived 3 weeks late. And when Fenwick explained he was a snail, he's like, okay, but Rupert has a backstory with Stephen the squirrel. They were best friends when they were younger. And then Stephen said that Rupert sold out when he got this job. He's like, he wears a suit. Squirrels aren't supposed to wear suits. So, Rupert is very kind of uptight. He drinks his tea, he's very particular. So that's kind of his deal.
I love it. I can't believe more people are listening to this. So this is amazing. I just love this. This is my jam here. Okay. So Rupert, and what is Rupert? I'm sorry. I know you told me,
A squirrel.
a squirrel. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So maybe we could do adventures of Rupert the squirrel, hijinks of adventures, something again. I know I use hijinks again. I'm thinking more like Scooby-Doo-ish land. You know what I mean? That's actually an excellent place to go look. Open up Amazon. And then I want you to look at like Google Scooby-Doo. They have 1,001 movies, shows, books, all done on Scooby-Doo. What are some of the words they're using inside of there that's continuously on and on? Because again, it's like that fun. You want to bring fun into it, a fun serial show about Rupert the squirrel, I don't think that Traversing Tuesdays is doing what you're doing enough justice. But
Right.
this is just that one piece. Then in the description, because you're on Buzzsprout, you have the ability to have a much longer description. I think it's 5,000 characters, by the way. So in that, then anything that we didn't use up above, you can then use all of those words in the description. The description should be full, because you should actually maybe even mention like the top 3 characters in there and what they're about. Or, if you want to go into a little bit more. But here's the thing, always. So like Rupert the squirrel, everything that you just said, and I can give you the transcript and all of that about this too. The Rupert the squirrel, talk about him, talk about the snail. Oh my gosh, so cute. And then even talk about your raccoon, right? But in between each one of those, I want you to add your Patreon link because I want them to come back. Because realistically, right now, your way of making money on this is going to be more towards Patreon, unless you are able to find a sponsor. Sponsors can be found, by the way, no matter how many downloads you have, as long as you have the right person. But I don't know who that is for you yet because even though I've listened to, we only met the other day. I also have to mention this because it's not that I didn't do lack of due diligence here. We literally, I think you wrote to me Tuesday. Well, no, you wrote to me a couple of weeks ago. I wrote you back, but we didn't schedule this until Tuesday. So,
Yeah.
I've only known you or known of you for a couple of days of traversing Tuesday for a couple of days. So I really feel like I need to dive in and listen to more to find out more about those. So you can expect a couple extra downloads this weekend.
Oh,
Me. So I also think so your Patreon is going to be where you're going to be at. And Patreon can be really good about this as well, because depending on your tier levels, right? Do you have different tiers in your Patreon?
yeah.
So depending on your tier levels, you could have the people that maybe just get the episode early, or maybe you get the backstory episodes, or maybe then you get like a Q&A with the author, or, Q&A with the host in this case, right? So those could all be definitely pieces that you could add to Patreon with the different tier levels. And I do have other clients that use Patreon for theirs as well, and they have had success with it. What I will say is that because you're on episode 24, may I ask, after 30 days, would you say that an episode gets 20 to 24 downloads? Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
Okay. Then you are exactly where you're supposed to be. So how I have been finding, so I've been doing podcast production, podcast management since 2020. I did TV before that, but 2020 started the podcasting. And then I've been a podcast growth coach for about a year now, but I started this journey in 2024 to be the growth strategist. What I have found doing all of the things that I've done is that until you get to like episode like 75, 80, you typically have the same number of downloads as you do the number of episode. So if your episode number is 24, after 30 days, you can expect 24 downloads. Is that always the case? No, but that is the case when it's a slow growth. Actually, I wouldn't even say slow growth. I feel like it's a normal growth, to be honest with you. Now, don't let that discourage you, because we can do some other things to grow this, right? Are you sharing your RSS feed on YouTube?
I think I tried that, and for some reason it didn't seem to work. That was a while ago, and I was kind of like, why am I doing this on YouTube? There's nothing to look at.
Nope.
So
It's
I don't
okay.
know. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I actually have I actually have my podcast up on YouTube. I don't do anything other than the cover art. You don't see any thumbnails or anything like that. And on YouTube, people are listening on YouTube just because, let's face it, more often than not, unless you are watching some maybe like a baking or gardening, I don't know unless you're watching something you're really interested in, you're probably listening to it as you're folding the laundry and other things anyway. So they don't need to see anything. They're just listening. Also, if you put it up on YouTube, it'll be up on YouTube Music, which is just audio anyway. People can listen that way. So if you're not up on YouTube and you have a YouTube channel, I would definitely just make sure that RSS feed is working. There's when you go in the back of the house to YouTube, it says podcast there. You click there, and then you just add the Buzzsprout RSS feed, and then you set it and forget it. It's like a Ronco rotisserie. Yes, I'm that old.
We gotta love those Ronco products.
I always love to tell people. People always meet me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were 30." I'm like, "No, I'm over 50." I remember Ronco rotisserie.
Jack LaLanne, man.
Yeah. We had one. We had a couple, I think, at one point. So, all right, make sure that's up there, because that's going to also add to your download numbers, because people are then going to find them. And this is going to be the part I think that you're going to find fun, is that as soon as this starts catching on, as soon as we've made some of these changes, so a little bit of some keywords in the title, keywords and maybe a little bit more about each of the characters or a couple of the key characters in the description. And I would, again, just use some keywords inside of the titles. But I really feel like in this case, yes, I still feel it's important, but also once they get it into their feed, they're going to love it. They're going to want more. They're going to want more. But I also, you don't want to be just giving this away for free. So you need those dynamic ads to send to Patreon. You need your Patreon link I would actually put your Patreon link first before the show notes. So right away, put that Patreon link, become a patron, chink, put that link, and then start the show notes. And I would also make sure that, that's going to transfer over in YouTube too. So I would also make sure it's a naked link. Do you know what a naked link is?
No.
That's okay. Naked link is just the full link. So it would be https://patreon.com// the rest of your thing is there.
I've been doing it right. I just didn't know it was undressed.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And we do that because in some podcast players and some podcast distribution players, they just don't hyperlink. So
gotcha.
That's why. Yeah, we want to make sure. So, okay, I love this. Do you have any questions for me? Because I could just gush about this the whole time. Now I'm like, I gotta get off this call because I gotta go listen.
Well, when you listen again, and because I definitely want to keep working with you. I just would like you to, it's hard for me to push my Patreon link. So I have I have an advantage because my characters can be like, hey, check this out. And it doesn't have to be me doing it, but I'm not sure that they're quite, I don't know. So you just see what you think, whatever you are listening.
I think that is an amazing thing. I would definitely use the character. Now, let me ask you again. So you have a daytime characters and you have nighttime characters, right?
Yes.
So what I would do is I would put, you're not, okay. So you're still on Buzzsprout. So you were always on Buzzsprout. So I
flipped over from Podbean a couple weeks ago.
Okay. So, that's okay. Either one. It doesn't make any, Buzzsprout's much easier for this, what you want anyway. So what I'm thinking is that you take one character from the daytime, one character from the nighttime, right? And you kind of do a little parody between the two of them and be like, hey, what are you doing here? Hey, what are you doing here? Well, I'm just here to tell the listeners about Patreon. What about you? Oh my gosh, that's what I was here to do. Oh, do you know that they can get extra blah, 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 blah on Patreon if they're a member? No, I was going to tell them about that. I think that could be so much fun.
Actually perfect, because I actually was going to have Steven not be able to sleep and go to Sparky's Tavern for the night episode. So that's perfect.
I love that. Yeah. So just make them do the little banter back and forth about the Patreon and just have it that way. And then just dynamically add that in. And I know that you mentioned you wanted to talk about the bands, but you know what? The bands aren't maybe going to bring you in any money, but Patreon's going to. So let's do the Patreon first and get that there and up and running. And we want to make sure that that's done. Now, when you have chosen a couple of keywords for your title, we may want to look at the cover art to just make sure that those keywords are in there. I mean, maybe in the future, you could maybe have like the characters on there or something. I feel like you could do so much more than just the white and red grid with the days of the week. I just really feel like you could really go deeper into that. But if you don't have the time or you don't have the energy, the money right now, that's okay. Realistically, what we want those keywords in the title. And we want that description to be fleshed out more with the characters. And I think it's fun. Now, do you have a Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or anything like that for these characters or for this podcast?
I don't. I'm terrible at social media. It sucks you in, man. It's like, I'd be like, I'm going to put this here. And then next thing I know, like 2 hours later, I wake up, I'm drooling on myself. And I'm like, why am I watching anteaters snarf ants out of a stump? Like that sort of thing.
You're so fun. Okay. Yeah, I totally get it. I'm going to also mention, this is the first time I've mentioned this too. So this is a bunch of firsts for me. I actually think that your ideal audience is on TikTok. I know. It's crazy.
Oh my God. My sister's been trying to get me on there for decades.
But here's the thing, right? I really feel like you don't even need to, like, you don't have to be the face of it, right? I feel like if you could create, and I'm almost thinking that there's got to be an AI program out there that can do this for you. If you can create a little raccoon that talks, you could, or I'm sorry, a little squirrel that talks, either or, raccoon or squirrel, or both. You could have them just do little snippets out of the storyline as like audiograms, or you could have them just do 7 to 15 second like little videos that say like, hey, have you heard the latest? And then, have you heard the latest? I'm going to use the word hijinks again because it's Scooby-Doo stuck in my head. I should have looked at more Scooby-Doo stuff, I guess. But I feel like you could do those and then just send them up there. Just go to the TikTok app and then just schedule them. Don't spend any time there yourself unless you need to. But every single like caption should have the link to your Buzzsprout link, wherever you're sending them to. Because do you have a website? No, you do have a website, right? You told me you did, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I also got Tuesday News Network. So yeah. I was thinking about doing a little ticker with news because, the news is all related to nature and stuff. And so we could just have silly little, yeah.
I think that's great. So you could do that. You could do like a little ticker across the bottom of it. You could I think you can try it for free. I think you can try Opus Clips for free. That will pull out some clips out of those. If you use Descript, then they do clips as well. But again, you would have to then mesh that with the character if you wanted it to. That's totally up to you. If you don't want it to, just make them as boring as possible and put them up onto TikTok and see how they do. Because sometimes those things capture people even more, right? Because it's like, what is this? Oh, okay. And realistically, you just want them to click on the link, go listen to the episodes and get into your Patreon. That's it. That's what you want. Come support the show. And I would definitely make sure that the squirrel and the raccoon are saying, we really need you to support the show. And don't worry about it. You're feeling funky about it. Just let them do it. Make it their problem, not yours. Right. You're just the one that's dynamically adding it in because ultimately they won't exist unless you can keep it up and running. And that's what really is important here.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for me before?
I think that'll do it for now. I have a lot to do.
I love it. I love it. Okay. MK, so tell me again the name of your show. And if you were to tell somebody to start listening to an episode, do you have an episode number or an episode that they should start listening to?
Yes. Traversing Tuesday Season 2, Episode 2 is sort of a recap of the first season. And it kind of allows you to get an overview of all of the characters at that point. And then moving forward, the other thing about Season 2, Episode 2 is that is the Moss Ball season opener. And Moss Ball is a sport which I invented, which uses a gnome from the Northwoods and one from the Westwoods. And they use tinfoil hats to keep the spectators from affecting their thoughts. And they have to move moss balls with their thoughts. And so
I love this. This is so up my alley. Thank you for reaching out to me because this is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love this. Yeah, you will definitely be getting a bunch of downloads this weekend from me. So yes. Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me today. If you're ready to deepen your visibility and grow your podcast in a way that feels aligned, come join my email list at kpcreativemedia.com/newsletter, where I share exclusive guidance, support, and next steps. And if this episode resonated, I'd be so honored if you left a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the most powerful ways to support the show and help other spiritual women discover it. Until next time, keep showing up and sharing your voice.